The film opens in India, where a woman named Neela tells the story of the monkey god Hanuman to her son named Kid. Hanuman is a god created as the monkey god who possesses extraordinary strength. Behind that strength, Hanuman has the ambition to devour the sun. Fortunately, before the sun can be devoured by Hanuman, the gods decide to punish Hanuman by stripping away all of his powers one by one. The scene then shifts decades later, precisely to a city named Yatana, where Kid has now grown up and become a fighter in the Tiger Temple. During his time as a fighter, Kid is named as the Ape Man because he always wears a monkey mask. Unfortunately, despite his efforts, Kid always loses in every fight. After that, the club owner named Tiger comes to welcome his enthusiastic audience who eagerly follow the bets. After the fight, Kid asks for his payment from Tiger, but Tiger decides to reduce Kid's earnings because he wasn't very injured at the time. After receiving his fight earnings, Kid goes to a bar to meet a boy named George who gives Kid information about what he has been looking for. The information includes a woman named Queenie Kapoor who runs a brothel disguised as a restaurant called King's. The brothel is famous for its guests who are mostly high-ranking officials. In addition, King's is also often used as a meeting place for Baba Shakti, a very famous religious figure. The next day, Kid sends his friends, who are pickpockets, to steal Queenie's purse while she's drinking on the roadside. Kid's friends' action is very swift. They easily move Queenie's purse from one person to another until it finally reaches Kid. After getting Queenie's purse, Kid quickly goes to King's to pretend to return the purse to Queenie. At that moment, Kid's true intention is revealed that he wants to work at Queenie's place. After seeing Kid's burnt hands, Queenie finally accepts Kid as a cook in her kitchen. The next day, Kid starts working in the kitchen and introduces himself as Bobby. There, Kid befriends the head chef named Alfonso. After finishing work, Kid then goes to a market. However, when buying items, Kid mentions a word, prompting the buyer to call a young boy to take Kid to a secret place full of firearms. There, Kid actually intends to buy a pistol with deadly firepower. With a face filled with deep-seated resentment, Kid buys a pistol from the store. The following day, while working, Kid pretends to enter Queenie's room to deliver a drink. There, Kid accidentally overhears a conversation between Queenie and Alfonso about their guests. After they finished talking, Kid approached Alfonso and forced him to go to the Tiger Temple to place a large bet on Kid's upcoming opponent. When Kid competes, he will deliberately lose so that Alfonso will make a lot of money from his bets. But in return, Kid asked Alfonso to elevate his position as a guest servant. Not long after, during the fight at the Tiger Temple, Kid began to execute his plan by pretending to lose so that his opponent would win decisively, and Alfonso would make a lot of money from the bets. The next day, Alfonso fulfilled his promise by making Kid a servant for the guests. After that, Kid was taken to a dining room filled with state officials, and the menu was explained to him in detail. However, it turned out that the room was not the main dining room because the main room was upstairs. After working, Alfonso said he would take Kid home in his sports car, which turned out to be a modified Bajaj capable of reaching speeds of up to 180 km/h. While working as a guest servant, Kid met a new girl named Sita, who was forced to do the job to meet her daily needs. At that moment, Kid saw Sita being harassed by the guests, which made him angry. At that moment, Kid was reminded of his past, showing that his mother was killed by a corrupt policeman named Rana. And that was Kid's reason for coming to King's as his attempt for revenge against Rana. After that, Kid's anger became uncontrollable, so he chose to leave the bar. At that moment, Kid met a dog and decided to give the dog some leftovers. Shortly after, Sita approached Kid and warned him not to feed stray dogs because they would return for more food. After several days of diligent work, Kid finally succeeded in rising to the position of a VIP servant, serving officials. Before entering the VIP room, Kid ordered the dog he had been feeding to bring his pistol through the kitchen. After obtaining his pistol, Kid entered the VIP room while carrying the guest's order, which was drugs. There, Kid met Sita again, who was serving Rana. Before meeting Rana, Kid went to the toilet to mix the drugs ordered by the guests with bleach soap. After that, Kid approached Rana and gave him the drugs. As soon as Rana used the drugs given by Kid, he immediately had a nosebleed and quickly went to the bathroom. At that moment, Kid took the opportunity to approach Rana and point the gun at him. But when Kid said that what he was doing was for revenge for his mother, Rana immediately blocked Kid's hand. Thus, a fight ensued between Kid and Rana along with his henchmen. During the fight, Kid was almost killed by Rana, but fortunately, Kid managed to break free and ran out of the building. During his escape, Kid was confronted by Rana's henchmen, but luckily, Kid managed to escape by taking Alfonso's car. Kid also persuaded Alfonso to flee with him from the police pursuit. Not long after, they were involved in a chase on the road until their car was hit and ended up overturned. At that moment, Alfonso couldn't save Kid and he was forced to flee, while Kid was captured by the police. Shortly afterward, on the way to the police station, Kid regained consciousness and immediately attacked the police officers. After that, Kid got out of the car and went to a place. Upon arriving at the intended place, Kid faced the owner named Daniel, who was angry after Kid brought the police to his place. As a result, a fight between Kid and Daniel occurred, and during the fight, one of the police officers managed to shoot Daniel dead. In that situation, Kid immediately fled through the roof. Unfortunately, Kid was shot by the police and fell into the river. After being shot, Kid remembered the last moments when his mother was killed. Not long after, Kid woke up in a temple called Ardhanarishvara and was welcomed by the head priest named Alpha. After that, Alpha asked Kid to look at the statue of the god Shiva and Parvati. Then he explained that the two gods are the bringers of peace and destruction. Just like in their country, which is currently in a crisis of destruction due to the increasing corruption and criminal activities of its officials. At that moment, Alpha hoped for the arrival of a figure of peace that could balance the country. On the other hand, Baba Shakti, who had just finished preaching, was approached by Rana, who informed him about the attack by the young man he experienced. Apparently, Baba Shakti is not just an ordinary religious figure, but the mastermind behind all the criminal activities in the country. At first, Baba Shakti was just a poor religious figure who later became famous after using his influence to form a community consisting of corrupt people, and Rana was his right-hand man. Baba Shakti then ordered Rana to eliminate Kid as soon as possible because Baba Shakti saw that Kid was very dangerous to his community. That night, Kid met Alpha's group, who were dining together accompanied by drum beats. There, Kid also learned that Alpha's group was mostly attended by transgender individuals. After the dinner event concluded, Alpha approached Kid, who couldn't sleep. At that moment, Alpha immediately understood Kid's condition that carrying inner pain. Seeing Kid deeply affected, Alpha took Kid to a sacred place where he revealed to him that Baba Shakti had been eyeing the Ardhanarishvara temple to turn it into his business place. However, Alpha could still save the temple if he paid a sum of money to the thugs. Alpha then gave Kid a powder that would guide him through his despair. As Kid inhaled the powder, he had flashbacks of his mother's murder. At that time, Kid and his mother were watching a show in their village. But at the same time, Baba Shakti, Rana, and their henchmen arrived to take over their village. Baba Shakti then ordered Rana and his henchmen to attack the village and eliminate anyone who opposed them. In the chaos, Neela hid Kid in the attic while she faced Rana. As an ordinary woman, she couldn't withstand Rana's continuous beating. Afterward, Rana set Neela's house on fire while she was still inside. When Kid tried to save his mother, the fire quickly engulfed the house with his mother inside. In the end, Kid burning his palm in the process, and that's the reason why Kid wanted revenge against Rana and Baba Shakti. In the present, Kid began to train himself to sharpen his fighting skills. During training, Kid was accompanied by Oliver, who played the drums to boost Kid's morale. Meanwhile, Baba Shakti held a press conference where he officially became a candidate for the Sovereign Party, and his speech triggered mistreatment by Hindu religious extremists towards minority groups. Several days later, Kid continued training tirelessly. One night, a young woman from Alpha's temple was beaten to death by Rana's henchmen who issued an eviction notice for the temple. Seeing Alpha in trouble, Kid made a plan to steal the temple's donation box and give it to George, where the money would be used to place bets on Kid as the monkey man. On the other hand, Alfonso, seeing the Monkey Man poster, returned to the Tiger Temple. There, he witnessed the fight between Kid and King Cobra, one of the fighters who had defeated Kid before. Before the fight began, everyone cheered for King Cobra, urging him to defeat the Monkey Man. However, once the fight started, the Monkey Man easily defeated King Cobra with a single kick. After seeing his top fighter lose, Tiger called one of his large-bodied fighters to face the Monkey Man. In his second fight, Kid seemed to struggle to defeat John. However, in the end, the Monkey Man managed to defeat John. This second victory of Kid's made George happy. Unfortunately, Kid instructed George to donate his winnings to the Ardnarishvara Temple so that Alpha could find a new place. Not long after, Joski was finally elected as the leader and held a celebration in Kings attended by Baba Shakti. Upon learning this, Kid took the opportunity to eliminate the officials there, including Rana. After that, Kid began to attack up the security guards at the back door of the restaurant and fought against some thugs in the kitchen. Then, Kid made a makeshift explosive device using a gas cylinder inserted into the stove. At the same time, while people were celebrating Joski's victory, suddenly the gas cylinder in the kitchen exploded, causing panic. Kid then entered the room and quickly killed Rana's henchmen, while Rana and Baba Shakti chose to flee upstairs. At that moment, Kid's training paid off as he was able to effortlessly kill dozens of enemies who fought against him simultaneously, but unfortunately, Rana's henchmen kept increasing. Luckily, Alpha and his temple members, who were former soldiers, came to help Kid. In the midst of the battle, Queenie appeared and tried to shoot Kid with a pistol. However, before that could happen, Sita struck Queenie's head, killing her. After that, Kid cut off Queenie's thumb to open the locked door. Later, Kid went up to the VIP floor, where he met Rana and fought to determine the winner. At first, Kid was overwhelmed facing Rana, but after recalling Rana's actions towards his mother, Kid became angry and managed to kill him after repeatedly hitting his head. After successfully killing Rana, Kid went to confront Baba Shakti, who was on the top floor. There, Baba Shakti tried to approach Kid while provoking him, but such provocation didn't work on someone as sane as Kid. Baba Shakti then showed Kid a sandal made by one of his loyal followers, which was created to prevent his feet from harming other creatures. When Kid's attention was distracted by the arrival of a helicopter, Baba Shakti immediately pulled out a nail from the sandal and stabbed it into Kid's stomach. However, the attack had no effect on Kid, and he took the nail and decided to kill Baba Shakti with it. At that moment, Baba Shakti revealed his true cowardly nature by pleading for mercy, but Kid was unmoved and stated that only God could forgive him. Kid then killed Baba Shakti after driving the nail into his head. After that, Kid looked at the picture of Hanuman there and recalled flashbacks of his mother before ultimately falling, and the film ended. Moral lesson from the story: sometimes, wearing a monkey mask and pretending to lose fights can lead to big trouble. But if you remember to feed the stray dogs, maybe they'll bring you a pistol to save the day.